Hello, my name is Vicki Molta, and this is You and Your Mental Wellness. I've been doing this show for quite a while now, and it's a monthly show, monthly half-an-hour show, and I have guests on who are people in recovery, who have lived experience either with mental health issues or substance use issues, and before I introduce my guest tonight, I just wanted to read a little something that I wrote about resilience, recovery, and hope for the future. So it's only a couple minutes long, but it got me thinking about what it means to be in recovery. So I wrote, according to the Oxford Dictionary, resilient means to be able to recoil or spring back into shape after bending, stretching, or being compressed. According to the Collins English Dictionary, the definition of recovery is restoration to a former or better condition, the regaining of something lost. I don't necessarily define recovery and resilience this way. For me, I don't suddenly bounce back. Sometimes it's like crawling on hands and knees from a fiery or explosive collapsed building, smoke hurling out through shattered glass windows. Trauma has scarred me like a faded war wound. It's something that, though no longer acutely painful, is a reminder that I have been through hell and back. Each of my past guests found a way to cope and recover using their own words. Jim said, you either go or grow. Dave said, most people in recovery want to get on with their lives, though stigma is certainly there, and we labor under terrible stereotypes. It's never too late to reclaim your life and create new dreams. Kelvin said, hope and change are possible. Johnny said, you either stay down or get up and fight. Ken said, the light of hope is inside. Express the inner person you yearn to be. Each of my guests found a way to grow that involved looking within themselves, an inside job. Self-understanding, self-change, risk-taking, getting up slowly after being knocked down. Aren't these universal themes? Don't they pertain to everyone? Aren't we all more the same than different? Take away the blinders from your eyes, and suddenly the world is more panoramic. You see you are not alone. For me, the definition of recovery is like the sun slowly emerging on the horizon in the early morning after a night of darkness. So tonight we have a guest, Tom Zima, who is a person in recovery with lived experience. And I just want to ask you what your definition of resilience and recovery is for you.
For me, resilience and recovery, I look at it as part of my character, how I was brought up, experiences I've had as a youngster, recognizing challenges that I'm facing and challenges that I've not been successful at. But I always believe there's hope. That's just a character trait that I have. So once I recognize I have problems, I think I'm strong enough to realize what's going on and be resilient enough to come back and create another life for myself.
So you feel like you have to keep going, even though sometimes you might fall down or fail at something. You feel like it's important to get up and keep trying.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There's always hope. There's always hope. For me, I just kept on going. I recognized problems. I always tried to do something about it. A lot of times I made the wrong choices. I thought that would help, but they didn't. Not until I absolutely reached my bottom. Mm-hmm. And then I was able to, after some period of time of health recovery, was I able to start applying some mental recovery to it.
Right. So you spent 47 years, you said, of drinking and drugging, but you're a survivor and you're a fighter. And do you think that this contributed to your experiences in Vietnam? And was that like the trigger or the trauma that pushed you to want to kind of blot out like the experiences that you had, because you said you were in the Tet Offensive.
Correct. Mm-hmm. I don't know what caused it. I don't really spend a whole heck of a lot of time trying to figure out what is my bottom cause. You know, I've accepted certain things in my life. You know, my father passed away when I was around 8 months old. To me, that's not an excuse. My life just took a different way of growing up. One of the things that I've used for myself is I broke my life up into 20-year segments. So it's easier for me to contact the past and make notes about it, and then first 20, second 20, third 20. I'm in my fourth now. And it makes it easier for me to identify things. I focus mostly on what attempts I've made to help myself, what worked and what didn't work. And I apply the things that did work, try to figure out why things didn't work. And I don't spend much time on that. I continually focus on moving forward.
So you don't want to dwell too much on the past.
No.
You're focused on the present and the future, and
Correct.
creating goals for yourself for the future.
Correct.
And, yeah,
I was dealt a set of cards, and I deal with it.
Right, right. So you don't get it. So, and you'd say that it's an inside job too, recovery, where you have to really work on yourself. And,
Oh, absolutely.
and not be like kind of on they call it the pity pot.
Right.
And
I don't spend much time there.
right, right. So so I met you through Advocacy Unlimited, and you were in the Recovery University program. Do you want to say a little something about what that is for people who don't know?
Sure. When I was applying for it, I kind of had an idea what it was about. What enlightened me was it said Recovery University. And I'm always interested in something that'll help me with my recovery, especially with people that are trained in that field. And I knew it was a 30-day program. And, you know, I went to school every day, 5 days a week. And I learned an awful lot about myself, coping skills, laws, a whole general education on recovery and surviving in life and helping other people to do the same.
And this is a statewide program. They've had a lot of people go through Recovery University, because I went through Recovery University too.
Oh, good for you.
I was in the first class.
Oh, wow.
So it's a wonderful program. You know, you do learn a lot about a lot of different areas, and so just going back, I know you don't like to talk about the past, but you did mention that your experiences up to the point of your recovery. In 1970, you got married, and you had two.
73.
Oh, 73.
Correct.
And then you had two daughters, and so. And where were you working? Were you working and just really involved in what? How was that time for you? Was it rough or?
Well, the beginning of the marriage was just fine, and I'd say probably the first 10 years were okay. You know, I worked for other people when we first started. My wife and I both worked 2 full-time jobs for a year, save up enough money to buy a house. And so we were always workers. I eventually started my own business, and I did that for, I don't know, 40 years or so. And it was when I really got in trouble. I started drinking heavily, real heavily, and using pot, using drugs. And these were drugs off the street, not prescribed by a physician. And that came later on in life. But life was pretty good. You know, I started to, when we got divorced in, geez, I forget when. My goodness, I don't spend much time on it. I think around 1984 or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Somewhere in that area. I do have mental blocks now.
Right.
Because of what I've done.
Right.
I don't think I'm in dementia yet, but I do have some blocks going on. But life was pretty good.
Too.
It was, you know, I enjoyed my children, I enjoyed the wife, and I think responsibility, I took responsibility and handled it fairly well. But then when I started added drugs to the alcohol mixture, I didn't treat responsibility very responsible, if I can say that. I started handling problems with drugs.
Right.
You know, pot. See, I even forget what drugs I took now. But you know, oxycodone, stuff
Right.
like that.
Right. Yeah, I
And
know.
then I got prescribed Klonopin to help with the anxiety because I had severe anxiety. I couldn't handle crowds. I couldn't handle anything. It was really a problem. And I'm really an outgoing person, but I can't go into a line and stand in line in a bank or in a grocery store or something like that.
Do you think it was like from maybe PTSD or?
They
something
say it
like
was
that?
PTSD. I'm a stubborn person. I don't like to use excuses.
Right.
Maybe that's real, and it could be.
Right.
I don't like to admit things like that.
Right.
Maybe that's a problem for me. I don't know. But I don't hang my hat on things like that.
Right. Labels and
Exactly.
stuff like that.
Exactly. I just try to do what needs to be done to educate myself and keep myself going in recovery the way I'm going right now.
Right. Right. And you know, you told me a little bit about your daughters. You're really proud of them. They both have master's degrees,
Correct.
and they're doing well. And do they live around the area, or do they live?
Well, I have my youngest daughter lives in Wethersfield.
Uh-huh.
She just gave me my first grandson
Oh, that's great.
4 months ago. Name is Noah.
Aw.
Cute little bugger. And my oldest, she has 2 master's degrees. She has one in
Wow.
Spanish, and she just got another master's in social work from Fordham. And my oldest daughter, Melanie, she lives in Vermont. She's an outdoorsy girl. Matter of fact, I'm going there tomorrow.
Oh, great. What
And-
part of Vermont?
Waterbury.
Oh, I've never heard of that. part
That's
of Vermont. Is it up like in the middle part of the state? Or?
I guess, I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
look at the whole state, but
Oh,
we're going to
that'll
go
be
canoeing
great.
and stuff like that.
Oh,
yeah.
that'll be great
Yeah,
to
she-
do that.
Both girls are great girls.
Uh-huh.
Their feet are on the ground.
That's great.
The oldest one works with autistic children.
Uh-huh.
She gets a lot of satisfaction out of that.
She likes to help people.
Oh yeah, both of them do.
That's wonderful.
Even the queen,
What queen?
the wife.
So then I just want to go back. So 2008 was the year when you kind of felt like you wanted to turn your life around. So what exactly happened? I mean, you told me what it was, but if you want to let people know about what happened in 2008.
Well, I had a minor stroke. Just couldn't function at all. Even just prior to that, my daughters were visiting me, and we went to the drugstore to get some film for my camera or something. And my daughter from Vermont, she was living in Colorado at the time, and she thought that was the last time she was ever going to see me.
Oh, really?
They really thought that was the last time. I didn't recognize it. In my brain, I didn't see or feel the effects of how crazy I was acting. Nervous as can be. Couldn't function. Dexterity wasn't there. But in my mind, I didn't see that. I thought I was functioning okay.
So you didn't go to the hospital or anything
No.
like that when this was happening?
No.
But wow. So so what happened? Did you end up going to the hospital, and that's when they diagnosed you with a minor stroke?
Well,
and-
what occurred is some very, very close friends of mine. I belong to a group called American Singles Golf Association.
Oh, okay.
And very good friends of mine from there saw how bad I was, and they just put me in a car. One of the gentlemen there, Joe, took me to West Haven, VA, and wanted me in right then and there. And they discharged me, and he was fit to be tied. Took me up there the following week and insisted that I stay, and I did. They put me in psychiatric ER.
Oh, wow.
That's a lockdown facility.
Right.
And stayed there for about, I think, a week. And, you know, that's part of emergency detoxing, getting the blood out, trying to get your body back in some sort of healthy state.
Right.
And then I was transferred to a homeless shelter. And I'm saying to myself, what am I doing in a homeless shelter in New Haven, Connecticut? Oh, my goodness, this isn't me. I'm not supposed to be here. But I accepted it. That's just what I had to deal with. I wasn't dealing with recovery at the time. I was just dealing with trying to stand up straight, because I didn't have the ability to really talk well. I didn't have penmanship any longer. I couldn't turn left. If I got off an elevator, I wanted to go left, I couldn't do it.
Wow.
Even to this day, and that was about 7 years ago, even to this day, if I ride a moped or something, I can't go left.
Really?
I cannot go left. I don't know why, I just can't.
Mm-hmm. So it affected your left side? Is
Yeah.
that what happened?
Yeah, I had a little droop in my jaw.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not noticeable today, but
No, I've,
did you have to have physical
good
therapy?
Lord's been
and-
kind to me,
Mm-hmm.
and my support system.
Thank God. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
it could have gotten a lot worse.
Oh, yeah.
and, You know.
Oh yeah, I needed a good knock upside the head to wake me up.
Right. It's a very humbling experience.
Oh, to say the least.
You know that. So after this experience in Columbus House and everything like that, did you just make a decision that you wanted to turn your life around and just stop drinking and you know things like that, or
No,
what happened
no.
after that?
I knew I wanted to get better, and I knew I didn't know how to do that. So I just followed the programs as they were laid out to me, and did my best to adhere to them, and try to find a path sooner or later. I hoped I would find the right track and start moving forward. But it was really never a conscious decision to say, I'm going to recover and I'm going to work at it.
Right.
It was just something that fell into place,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems to work.
Right. Wow. So, what kind of places have where have you found support since then? You know, where have you developed your support system?
Well, my family, for one, for sure. That's unquestionable support. They're behind me 100%, even in my worst days. I can count on my sisters. I have one brother. I can count on him.
That's important to have
Oh, yeah.
family.
The daughters, extremely important, extremely important. The people from the American Singles Golf Association, big support there, big support. I mean, we have dinner once a month,
Oh, that's great.
even to this day.
Do you play golf all over Connecticut and different golf courses?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Well, that's nice to have that.
Well, golf
Shared.
is like it's a way where I unwind. You know, some days I'm good, sometimes I'm bad. I don't really care. I'm out there. I'm always with good company, and it's always a pretty scene.
Oh,
Grass is nice
yeah.
and mowed,
Yeah.
flowers are around, bushes and trees, and to me, it's serenity.
Right. Yeah, that's nice. So what are some of the other things that you like to do that you enjoy doing in your spare time? And
Well, I'm domiciled at the Veterans Home in Rocky Hill. Now there I have I'm labeled as a wing monitor, which is in plain what people will understand is it's like a platoon sergeant. Okay, I have 40 some odd people that live there. I just make sure they're following the rules and, you know, taking showers and clean it up, do their details of helping the area stay clean, things of that nature. Write passes when they want to go out for overnights and things like that.
so you've really it sounds like from what you've told me, you've taken on a lot of leadership roles in your
Yeah,
life.
well, I was president of council for 3 years, Veterans Council up there. I'm a sponsor,
That's
AA
great.
sponsor, and I do a lot of speeches throughout Connecticut, telling my story at different AA groups.
That's great.
Mm.
That's great. So about the president of the Veterans Council, you told me about that, and I want to get into that too, and some more of the things that you've accomplished too. You raised money to needy families in Rocky Hill, and you raised $2,000 to $3,000. Was that?
That's correct. We, the council's never really had any money prior to that. We managed to raise up to $3,000, and what we did with that is we gave a little over $900 to a family that was in need in Rocky Hill. We brought it down to their services department, human services department. We have, when veterans are leaving Rocky Hill, they get discharged, whether they're discharged honorably or dishonorably for violating rules of some sort. We managed to give them $50 apiece. So they have something in their pockets when they walked out the door.
Right.
And it was kind of nice. Everybody was very, very happy and relieved to get that $50. But we have pizza parties. We sponsored a lot of bingos. We have a healthcare facility there for a lot of people that are just hospital bound. A lot of older veterans and whatnot. We put on bingos for them too.
So do you think that giving back to other people really helps you stay well and gives you meaning in your life? And
Not only myself, but people in general. You know, there's really not a better feeling than when you've done something nice for somebody. It makes you feel good. And I think everybody falls into that category. They may not want to admit it, but when you do something nice, and it's very gratifying.
Right, right.
And don't expect anything in return.
Yeah, that is a good feeling. How about other things that you've accomplished? So you were in the Veterans Council, and you're a monitor at the VA, and you're in the singles golf club. That's more leisure, just
Correct.
enjoying.
Correct.
leisure
I try
time.
not to take on too many things because then I'll get confused.
Yeah, I have
Part
that
of my
problem.
recovery is making sure I don't have too many things to do.
Right.
I'm even, like when you call me for here, I make sure I have not a lot of things going on at the same time
Right. Yeah.
because I will get confused. I don't want a lot of balls in the air at the same time.
Yeah, that can be really stressful.
Exactly.
To have to
Exactly.
deal with that.
Sure.
I find I have the same problems. Sometimes I tend to pile things up, and then I get overwhelmed and have to drop some things. And
Exactly.
I can't go.
Got to leave room for the unannounced things.
Right. Right. So So you told me what some of your future goals are, as that involve giving back too and putting your time to good use. Do you want to say something about the House of Heroes that you mentioned? That's they build houses for veterans.
Oh, there was a group that showed up online for me, and I looked at it. And before I get involved with anything, I really pay attention to what kind of group it is. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there starting groups and collecting money for veterans, and they're less than desirable.
Really?
There's an awful lot of money making off of veterans, saying they're going to help veterans, and they don't.
Oh.
This one particular one, flags went up on it for me, and I lost interest in it and decided not to pursue that. Just because I couldn't get the answers I was looking for.
Right.
They're probably pretty good and excellent, but not something I'm going to get involved with.
So how do you know when they're legitimate or not?
Well, I've got 40 years of business experience behind me. You know, I've got, I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. Kind of, you know, I'm pretty experienced at seeing something pretty quickly, whether it's valuable or honest and something that's above board that I would get involved with. And I can generally find those things out pretty quick. And like I say, I don't involve with myself with everything that's out there.
Right.
I'm very cautious of my time.
I think that's really important to know what your limitations are.
Oh yeah.
You know, 'cause I think that has a lot to do with when you get older, you realize you can't do everything.
Correct.
You know, when you're a child or something, you think, oh, I want to do this, and
Oh,
this,
yeah.
and this, and this. And then you learn that you're spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah.
And then, so I think that's a huge strength that you have to know what your limitations are.
Correct. I learned that through admitting that I was a narcissist. And I work on keeping that down.
Yeah.
You know, I violate that a lot. But it's an everyday situation I got to pay attention to.
Right, right. Well, I mean, and it's funny because in this country there's so many opportunities to be involved with so many different things. It really can be overwhelming. But we don't have too much time left. We only have a couple minutes, and I just wanted to ask you one last question, and then if there's anything else you'd like to say. What would you say to people who are watching and struggling right now in the audience? Like, what would you say to them right now to give them some kind of hope or?
Well, like I say, recognize there's always hope. There's never a situation that you can't get out of. If you have money problems, in this society, that's not a problem. There's always some sort of group, organization, federal assistance program that can help you deal with that. It's health problems, they can't deal with that well. That is your responsibility. And if you're using alcohol, abusing drugs, that's something you're going to need help to get control of. Some medications are needed and some are not. If you're using it for recreational purposes and you think you're getting high because of a certain medication, that's probably not the medication for you, at least at the dosage that you're using. Step aside, step back, pay attention to your life a little bit, give yourself a break. Take time out for you and you only. Stop trying to impress other people. Stop trying to do something you can't do. Recognize, as Vicki said, what your limitations are. Everybody has a limitation. Be kind to yourself. And I think things will go well for you. But give yourself that opportunity.
I think those are great things to say. One last thing you told me when I interviewed you in the beginning, you said, God helps those who help themselves too. So
that's correct.
You know, if you want to get help, I think it's important to see that there's a higher power. At least, not everybody agrees with that, but
correct.
You know, I do believe that helping yourself there's help along the way
correct.
too. So we're going to have to close now. So I want to thank you, Tom, for being on the show. It was a really nice chance to talk to you, and I want to thank Jeff Hansen for doing the production and Abigail White for doing this, head of the studio, and I want to thank the audience for watching, and we're going to be here again next month. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next month. Thanks.